Nintendo's amiibo figures look great as they are, but customizing is a way of making them even more special. I'm TJ, and it's my mission to make the map that removes the mystery from amiibo to help you chart the course to conquer your favorite custom challenges and achieve the unique and personalized amiibo you always wanted. Let me make the mistake so you don't have to.
Somebody call for a hero? Who even watches this show?
That's me, TJ, and Dark TJ. They'll be popping up from time to time to offer some tips, tricks, and helpful hints.
Don't listen to anything this guy has to say. He has no idea what he's doing.
Or not so helpful. It's dangerous to go alone, so come with us and we'll conquer this custom together. Welcome to Custom Conquest. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us and welcome back to another episode of Custom Conquest. This is not only our 13th episode, it's also the first episode of our second season. And as all of you know, I'm a big Nintendo fan, but there is no series more near and dear to my heart than The Legend of Zelda.
Link is absolutely my favorite hero of all time. Whatever, no one's cooler than Dark Link. Except me.
Even they're getting into the spirit. So I'm really excited to announce that this is going to be an entire Custom Conquest season dedicated, purely devoted to The Legend of Zelda. Every single custom will be Legend of Zelda inspired. Nintendo recently announced their own dedicated line of Zelda amiibo, and I'm super pumped about it. And one of those amiibo is the 8-bit Link. Now, this isn't your classic looking Link, it's a 3D imagining of the 2D Link from the original Legend of Zelda game for the regular NES. Well, for those of you guys who really like the 2D rendition, or who are not really that keen on waiting, I'm going to show you a way how you can have a 2D 8-bit Legend of Zelda amiibo right now. So let's get started.
Let's weigh the difficulty of our custom 8-bit Link amiibo on the Custom Conquest difficulty scale. I think we've got a custom on our hands that just about anybody can do. I'd rate this custom a 2. So if this looks like a Link you'd like to add to your collection, just stick with me and we'll get you all set up. I still think an 8-bit Dark Link would be better. Let's see what it's going to take to put this guy together, starting with our components, which includes the figures, pieces, and parts. My main starting point is going to be a Link amiibo, but we really just need him for the base and the NFC chip. The main figure component is the Jakks-specific 2.5-inch 8-bit Link. There also happens to be a white and a red version, and the shape is exactly the same, so if you would rather have one of those, the process is pretty much exactly the same. And finally, the base provided by the Link amiibo is from the Smash Brothers line, but seeing as how there's really no specific 8-bit functionality in Smash, I made a custom vinyl sticker base that I can use to resurface the Smash logo and make it more closely resemble the base of the Zelda series amiibo. Now as for the equipment we're going to need, let's take a look at the tools and supplies. The first tool on this list is a hand drill, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a drill that you just use with your hand. Now I have to give a quick shout out to the legendary customizer Evilos. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know that a hand drill exists, but it's a super handy and useful item if you intend to customize figures, but you might not be able to pick it up from your local hardware shop. My local Lowe's and Home Depot both sent me to Amazon, so you can find it there for about 10 bucks. Next up, I'm going to use a butter knife to get into the amiibo base, but pretty much any thin, strong piece of metal will work. I know some people like to use X-acto knives because they're sharp and thin, but they break pretty easily, so that's not really my style. You'll want some air dry clay. The 2-part epoxy Milliput works perfect for this. You're going to need some sandpaper. I'm also going to use a flathead screw, and you're going to need a screwdriver for that. Obviously! And finally, I use some metallic gold spray paint. This is going to be so awesome! Any adventure is easier with a map, so let's outline the attack strategy. We're starting out with that Link amiibo, so the first thing we're going to need to do is separate it from the base. Since it doesn't serve any other purpose on this project, we can set the figure aside, and I did completely disassemble the Jakks-specific 2.5-inch 8-bit Link figure because I wanted to see how it was put together. Plus, it's just really fun to break stuff. But it is completely unnecessary for this custom. Essentially, the task at hand is little more than just replacing one figure with another, but because I want it to be part of the Zelda series instead of the Smash line, most of the customizing is actually applied to the base. It's going to require a little bit of resurfacing to flatten it out, and I want to change the color. But the single most important aspect of this custom is finding an abundantly secure way to lock that 8-bit Link to his brand new base. Alright, we've got the course charted out. Here's hoping for some smooth sailing ahead. Alright, let's get this quest underway. Now, while it might seem like a simple enough custom, it does present some deceptively puzzling challenges. My hope is that since I've already had to solve these issues, it'll save you the trouble. So just stick with me and I'll show you all the secrets. The first thing we have to do is take this Link amiibo and detach it from the base. To do that, I'm going to drop him in some boiling water. I know a lot of you have concerns about your NFC chip, but don't even sweat it. They're a lot hardier than you think. And even if it's not completely airtight, they can more than hold up to some hot water. Let it sit in there for 1 to 2 minutes to soften up the plastic. Word of warning though, if you start creeping closer to the 5-minute 5-minute range, even though your NFC chip will be totally fine, you might start to melt the plastic of the base a little bit, and it will start to take on more of a warped quality. We've got 3 components here: the gold smash emblem, which also serves as the platform for the figure, the black outer base, and the NFC chip that resides inside. To achieve the necessary modifications for this custom, we are going to have to isolate these pieces. My personal preferred method for NFC extraction? The butter knife. For the Link amiibo, your best bet is to wedge the butter knife between the gold and the black, just about even with the hole left from Link's leg. Apply a little bit of pressure, and with any luck, it'll pop right out. But bear in mind, some of them are a lot more stubborn than others. Just be gentle and careful and kind of work your way around the rim until the pieces separate. Hey, it's kind of like opening a treasure chest! Da-na-na-na! Now that Link has a little bit more of a rubbery quality to him, it's no trouble just to pull him out of the base. His foot's just held on by a little plastic peg, so you can just unplug it. But where the yellow support is... You mean the pee stand? It's a much more rigid plastic, and it will be unaffected by the heat treatment, so you're probably just gonna have to break it off. But fortunately, with a little bit of leverage, it won't present a problem. Now that our Link figure is free, he's played his part for this particular custom, so we can set him aside for now and save him for a future adventure. Now that the pieces are separate, let's set the NFC chip somewhere safe, and we'll concentrate on the black base. Each different line of amiibo figures have their own designated base color. For Super Smash Bros., the base is black. The Mario series bases are red. Splatoon sports a dark gray. Animal Crossing is brown. Kirby is blue. And not surprisingly, the Legend of Zelda amiibo line are no exception. I've heard it commonly referred to as gold, but it's really more of an army green color. Yeah, picture like if green and brown had a baby. My personal history with the Legend of Zelda series goes all the way back to the original game on the NES. And let me tell you, that shiny gold cartridge is a sight to behold. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that this game was something special. The game's direct sequel also for the NES, Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, as well as Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask for the N64, also got the gold treatment. Needless to say, my association with the Legend of Zelda series and the color gold is a strong one, so I came to the decision that the custom Legend of Zelda amiibo figures that'll be featured on this season of Custom Conquest will all have that majestic metallic gold base. All we have to do is dust the black portion of the amiibo base with some metallic gold spray paint. But a quick word of advice before you do: make sure to fire off a few test shots first, as dried paint around the nozzle could result in splatter, and maintain a distance of at least 7 inches from your target. Now for the trickiest part of this puzzle. I want to resurface the gold smash icon portion of the amiibo base with the design from the Zelda series. So the first step is going to be to plug those holes. For this I use the 2-part Apoxie Milliput. Simply blend the 2 parts together and smooth it into the holes. Now it'll take a little bit of time to set, but once it's nice and solid we can sand it down. I want to make the top of this platform perfectly flat. A fairly fast method I've found is to stretch some sandpaper over a flat surface, and you can grind your platform flat while also keeping it perfectly level. Now I suppose if you're a really gifted artist you can paint the Zelda amiibo base pattern on there, but I'm going to be making a lot of these things, and it's really important to me to maintain a consistent quality throughout this series of custom amiibo. So the solution for me? Custom vinyl stickers. But before I could get to that, I needed to actually create a printable design. So I endeavored to use the information I could glean from the Wolf Link amiibo base to try to reconstruct the rest of it as vector art that I could actually take to a printer. Now I don't want to bore you with a bunch of math, but needless to say it involved a lot of measuring, digital drawing, color matching, and testing. But I came out of the other side with a piece of vector art designed in Adobe Illustrator and perfectly scaled to size. I had a bunch of them printed out from my favorite professional printing shop. A 1 3/4 inch circle punch is the perfect size to pop one of these things out.
Oh yeah, cause everyone's got one of those laying around.
Or of course you could just carefully trim around it with a pair of scissors. Since it's a perfect circle, there's really nothing to designate what the front is other than the sticker itself. Just make sure it lines up at the edges. Now our custom Legend of Zelda amiibo base is essentially complete. All we have to do is attach our figure. This is a job for
not glue.
I loves me some super glue, but this is one case where I don't really think it's the best solution. We're trying to apply 2 very flat surfaces to each other, and while I'm sure it would stick, neither are really porous enough to get a good bond. So I'm going to want to go with something a little bit more secure. I'm going to hold my 8-bit Link figure onto the base in the precise position I want him to be in. Then I'm going to use my hand drill to drill a hole through the bottom of the gold base and directly into the center of Link's right foot. Now I'm going to feed a thin flathead screw right through the hole, and with a few twists, tighten them up.
Face it, Link, you're totally screwed.
You might find that some of the intersecting plastic lines at the bottom of the base prevent you from getting a flush fit with your screw head. I found that if I pinch the piece of plastic with a pair of needle-nose pliers, a simple twist is all it took to take it out. Return your NFC chip to the gold base, apply some super glue to the edges, and press the platform back into position. With Link locked and the base in place, our custom 8-bit Link joins the adventure. Having a custom 8-bit Link is cool, but 3 custom 8-bit Toon Links featuring the white and red tunics? That's just awesome! So remember that Jack-specific 2.5-inch 8-bit Link that I disassembled for the sake of science? Well, I didn't want it to go to waste, so I decided to alter his color scheme a bit and see if I could successfully reassemble him. You should know the type of plastic used in this Jack-specific 2.5-inch 8-bit Link is not susceptible to heat treatment, so excessive exposure to high temperatures will result in melting. It will not make it easier to manage. I pulled it apart essentially by breaking it. I did attempt to boil it to see if that would aid in disassembly.
But all it really accomplished was to trap a bunch of hot water and burn us.
Yeah, they did do that. But it in no way makes the figure easier to manipulate. And because disassembly is quite difficult and risky, as there are a lot of thin, small pieces of plastic that are liable to break, if you do want to adjust the color scheme, I don't recommend taking it apart first. The drawbacks definitely outweigh any potential benefits. But in my case, what was done, so I figured I'd make the most of it. I think what you mean to say is to make the most of the figure. And what can I say, I've always been a little bit at war with myself, so I thought it would be pretty cool to have Link Shadow. Dark Link. I tested out a few different dark color schemes in Photoshop until I found one I liked. It didn't really seem appropriate or fitting to have Dark Link carry around the Christian cross on the center of his shield, so I made a few modifications to make it more closely resemble an upside down sword.
That looks awesome. I guess you're not completely useless.
I wanted to take my Jack-specific 8-bit Link figure to the next level. Now I have a whole collection of them as fully functional amiibo. Talk about an upgrade!
One of the most time-consuming aspects of this particular custom was coming up with the custom Legend of Zelda Amiibo series base. Hopefully I can save you some of that trouble. If you want my base, you can find the link in the description below. It's already sized to print. You can print it from your personal printer, take it to a professional printer, or if you want me to send you one of mine, you can click that Patreon link up in the corner for more details. In addition to making the custom Amiibo and the custom base, we've also put together some custom boxes, which are available for you to download.
We even made boxes for 8-bit Red Link and 8-bit White Link.
And of course the sweet crowning jewel of the collection, 8-bit Dark Link.
You can find them from a link in the description below. Also, if you want your artwork featured here on Custom Conquest, you can send them to me by email, customconquest@gmail.com, or you can tag me on Twitter, Custom Conquest, with the hashtag MyCCAmiibo. I am super excited to share an entire season of Legend of Zelda Custom Amiibo with you. I can't wait to show you what we've got in store. I hope you'll keep checking it out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for playing.
Dark side out. All I gotta say is if Dark Link doesn't get his own episode this season, I am totally hijacking this show. Now get out of here.